What's the one thing that could shake the foundations of Meghan Markle's carefully built media empire? Well, it's not what you think. It's not another royal snub or a critical headline. It's a no from Oprah Winfrey. Imagine the scene. You're in the room where you had your big blow-up with Prince Harry. You thought you were going to have a second chat with Oprah Winfrey, but when she says no, you know you've hit rock bottom. That's exactly what happened to Meghan. She thought she could recreate the magic of their first chat. But Oprah, the queen of storytelling, has moved on. And Meghan's carefully crafted narrative is starting to fall apart at the seams. Her world is crashing down because she's not just a celebrity, she's a brand. And that brand is built on controlling the message. But when Oprah says no, you know you've lost. So what happens next? Well, that's anyone's guess. But one thing's for sure, Meghan's world is about to get a whole lot smaller. Let's rewind to 2021. That first Oprah interview was a masterclass in storytelling. Meghan and Harry sat down in a garden, sunlight filtering through, and laid bare their truth about life in the royal family. Racism, isolation, betrayal, it was raw, gripping, and explosive. The world watched, riveted. Social media erupted. Headlines screamed for weeks. Meghan became a symbol of speaking truth to power, a modern disruptor who dared to challenge a centuries-old institution, but it also came with a cost. The backlash was fierce. Fact-checkers pored over every word. Critics pointed to inconsistencies. Some called it a one-sided narrative. And while the interview was a ratings juggernaut, it left scars on Meghan, on the royal family, and on the media landscape. Fast forward to now. Meghan's post-royal journey hasn't gone as planned. She left the palace to build something new, a brand rooted in independence, creativity, and advocacy. For a while, it worked. The Spotify deal, worth millions, promised to showcase her voice through a podcast called Archetypes. It was supposed to be a platform for big ideas, deep conversations, and a fresh take on her story. But the reality? Only a handful of episodes dropped. Production delays, mixed reviews, and a lack of consistency haunted the project. Eventually, Spotify pulled the plug, and the silence was louder than any headline. One industry insider put it bluntly, the novelty is gone. Harsh, sure, but in Hollywood, where attention is currency, that's a death sentence. There's no easy answers here, folks. Then there's Netflix. The docuseries Harry and Meghan was a bold move, a chance to tell their story on their terms. It drew in millions of viewers. But the reaction wasn't what they hoped for. Critics called it repetitive, leaning too heavily on the royal split without offering fresh insights. Audiences started to feel like they were hearing the same story on a loop: betrayal, struggle, repeat. In an industry where reinvention is survival, that's dangerous territory. The public's patience is thin, and Meghan's brand, once electric, is starting to flicker. Her name used to guarantee cameras, magazine covers, sold-out events. Now, projects stall, deals dry up. The buzz is fading, and Hollywood moves on fast when the numbers don't add up. So when Meghan pitched that second Oprah interview, it wasn't just a casual idea, it was a lifeline. She wanted that soft lighting, those thoughtful questions, that Oprah magic to remind the world why they cared. But Oprah's no wasn't just about a packed calendar. It was about risk. That first interview, for all of its impact, came with baggage. The backlash wasn't just loud, it was relentless. Fact checks exposed cracks in the story. Skeptics questioned the details. And while millions sympathized, millions more judged. Oprah, who's built her empire on empathy and redemption, isn't afraid of controversy. She's made a career out of it. But this was different. Another Meghan interview wasn't just a headline. It was a gamble. And Oprah, with decades of credibility on the line, wasn't willing to roll the dice twice. Let's talk about Hollywood for a second. It's a machine, cold and relentless. Perception is everything. Meghan's draw used to be magnetic. Her name meant clicks, views, sales. But lately, the numbers tell a different story. Focus groups are unimpressed. Executives are skittish. Even PR strategists, who once lined up to work with her, are hesitating. One high-profile agent reportedly walked away, citing too much baggage. That's the kind of rejection that cuts deep in an industry built on clean narratives and easy wins. When your story becomes too complicated to sell, people stop trying to sell it. There's also the issue of image fatigue. Meghan's told her story so many times, interviews, documentaries, public appearances, that even her most loyal fans are starting to check out. The themes that once felt urgent, racism, isolation, standing up to power, are starting to feel recycled. The public's attention span is short, and the longer you stay in the spotlight without evolving, the more they turn on you. It's the cruel irony of fame. You have to keep changing just to stay in place. And Meghan, she's still fighting the same battle on a stage that's already moved on. The cracks didn't start with Oprah's, no, they'd been forming for a while. The Spotify deal was supposed to be a cornerstone of her brand, but it crumbled under the weight of delays and lukewarm reception. Netflix, while a bigger platform, didn't deliver the lasting impact she needed. Her public appearances, once dissected like royal dispatches, now barely make a ripple. And then, there's the industry. When a name starts getting labeled as risky, the dominoes fall fast. Media outlets pivot. Philanthropic boards distance themselves. One charity source admitted they didn't want Meghan's name tied to their next campaign. Not because of her message, but because of the distraction. That's not just professional rejection. It's personal. The walls are closing in. Inside Meghan's circle, the mood is tense. Whispers say she feels abandoned, even punished for speaking her truth. But the truth isn't the problem. It's how often she's repeated it. The public doesn't just want a story. They want progress, results, something new. And right now, Meghan's stuck in a loop, replaying the same themes without a fresh angle. Her team is scrambling, pitching new ideas, documentaries, series, even branded products to keep the spark alive. But Hollywood's not biting like it used to. The elite circles that once embraced her are starting to see her as a liability, not an asset. Even names like Gayle King, Ellen DeGeneres, Trevor Noah, they're keeping their distance. Quietly, strategically, the domino effect is real. What's next for Meghan? The shift is already happening. Without Oprah's backing, she's facing a downgrade. Smaller platforms, less control, tougher questions. The magic of exclusivity, that A-list sheen, it's fading. Once you lose that, the narrative stops feeling like a cultural moment and starts feeling like a PR push. That's where her brand is headed.